Craig. I'm based in London. I've been producing documentaries there for many years. I sat down last night and I checked my resume, and I went back 5 years and I counted 25 films, and half of them were co-productions. And then I did the maths a little bit more carefully, and I realized that in the last 2 or 3 years, the proportion of co-productions had gone up a lot. As budgets generally have gone down, co-productions have gone up. So whether we like them or we don't like them, they are the future. I think the real principle for me of why co-production makes sense is that a co-production can give a producer 2 things that he really craves. One is editorial control, and the other is some rights, the opportunity, the chance to make a little bit of money into the future.
The benefit of co-production is if you can leverage that kind of co-production, if you can get in bed, as it were, with a very well-established production company and together do something, that gets you in front of broadcasters, that gets you in front of around the world in various ways. So it's a way to break out of the region, if you will. So that's the kind of when we talk about co-productions, there's all sorts of, co-production just means money. It just means how you're going to fund your project.
Anywhere in the world, that is exactly how it works. You approach a broadcaster, they like your idea, and the first broadcaster that comes on board gives you something called a broadcasting license, which means a commitment to show your film when it's done, and a substantial amount of money that you use as a building block to fill the entire financial structure that you built for your movie. A second channel and a third channel are likely to come on board too, with smaller amounts of money, and they get the right to the second and third screening.
We do have some positive, promising points in the region today. Arab Fund of Arts and Culture started up a new fund for documentary filmmakers. Abu Dhabi Film Festival started up a new fund for film in general, which includes documentary. In Beirut, there's now the Screen Institute Beirut, SIB, which is financing creative documentaries of independent filmmakers. There are many different initiatives. Now we know in Abu Dhabi there is Al Shasha Fund of Abu Dhabi Film Commission, but it's for fiction. We still wait to see what will happen if there's some regional initiative here that is going to be more towards documentary. We know that there are different training opportunities. The one we work on, Diana and I, in Syria with our good friends there in Docsbox, the forum of the Docsbox campus, where we try to introduce new projects and develop them. In Beirut DC are working with an annual long-term training setup or program called The Other Side of the Coin. In different parts of our region, there are different initiatives today.
I think it's very important to realize that documentary filmmaking in the Arab world is still in its teething stage. 10 years ago is when we really started in this region doing this kind of thing independently. It's still a nascent industry. And people sometimes judge us according to standards of documentary makers and documentaries that have been produced for decades. I think we have come leaps and bounds in this past decade. We are mostly self-taught. We look to other productions for inspiration, for certain guidelines, but we go with the flow. Now, some people will say that we are too internally focused. We focus too much on ourselves. We don't have that much of a global outlook, which is probably a point that documentary filmmakers in this part of the world, if they would like to attract the attention of international broadcasters, they should consider. But at the same time, from what we see happening in the world today, it is obvious that a lot of the history of the world is being made partly in this region. And this region requires the attention of international broadcasters and international producers. If we can marry the interests of the commissioner, the broadcaster, or the financer with the actual producer of the film, of the documentary, I think we can find something to do. I think there could be a common ground in that respect. We're not so different. Some people think that there are different agendas, but I think in the interests of humanity in the end, and with all the turmoil in the world today, there must be some kind of common ground that we can find to do this.